What's up, guys? It is Monday, September 19th. It's 2:40 p.m. and this is the newsletter. So starting off with the U.S. Department of the Treasury fact sheet, Framework for International Engagement on Digital Assets. This was back July 7, 2022. And we can go through this and see kind of what the important things that they're kind of putting to the forefront for this framework. So you can see the executive order also directs the administration to promote development of digital asset and central bank digital currencies, technologies consistent with our values and legal requirements. What's outlined in the framework is intended to ensure that, with respect to the development of digital assets, America's core democratic values are respected. Consumers, investors, and businesses are protected, appropriate global financial system connectivity and platform and architecture interoperability are preserved, and the safety and soundness of the global financial system and international monetary system are maintained. Technology-driven financial innovation is frequently cross-border and can impact households, businesses, and governments across the world. International cooperation among public authorities, the private sector, and other stakeholders is therefore critical to maintaining high regulatory standards and a level playing field, and expanding access to safe and affordable financial services, reducing the cost of domestic and cross-border payments, including through the continued modernization of public payment systems. Uneven regulation, supervision, compliance across jurisdictions creates opportunities for arbitrage and raises risks to financial stability and the protection of consumers, investors, businesses, and markets. Inadequate anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism regulation, supervision, and enforcement by other countries challenges the ability of the United States to investigate illicit digital asset transaction flows that frequently jump overseas, as it's often the case in ransomware payments and other cyber-related money laundering crimes. Frictions led cross-border payments and remittances to be slow and costly, particularly when sent to developing or emerging economies. Exactly the use cases that they're outlining are what Ripple, XRP, and Stellar XLM are solving. And it's in line with their democratic principles as well, too. So the framework is guided by the principal policy. Let's see in here, history of robust engagement provides a strong foundation. Key international engagements, the G7, G20 Financial Stability Board, the FIU, Financial Action Task Force, Organization for Economic Cooperation Development, other standard-setting bodies, International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and other multilateral development banks, all the big dogs that we're watching. We're watching what they do, not what they say. And what they do and what they're engaging in is these prototypes, these pilots with central bank digital currencies, utilizing interoperability between them. And we've seen so many things outlining Ripple, Stellar as possible use cases for these central bank digital currency, multilateral, multi-currency systems. All right, so we can move forward. So to interoperability that reduces cross-border frictions. See, it's everything that they say is everything that Ripple and Stellar are doing. Then statement by NEC Director Brian Deese and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan on digital assets frameworks. This was September 16th. That was about 3 days ago. So at the direction of President Biden, and after 180 days of determined work across the Biden-Harris administration, we're releasing the first ever comprehensive federal digital assets framework, positioning us to keep playing a leading role in the innovation and governance of the digital assets ecosystem at home and abroad, and in a way that protects consumers, is consistent with our democratic values, and advances U.S. global competitiveness. We finally have regulation and a framework and clarity regarding digital assets, cryptocurrencies in the United States, which is so huge. We've seen a ton of clarity across the world, but we've just been waiting for the US to hop on board, and now we got it. Like, this past week was crazy. And they're talking about giving the green light to the central bank digital currency. So it's everything we imagined, everything we speculated, and everything we researched is now coming to fruition. So first, consistent with the president's directive to place the highest urgency on research and development of a U.S. central bank digital currency, the administration encourages the Federal Reserve to continue its research and experimentation. We will also launch an interagency working group to support Federal Reserve efforts by considering policy implications of a potential CBDC, especially for our national security. The leadership of the Federal Reserve, the National Economic Council, the National Security Office, all these are meet regularly to discuss and update on progress. Second, the administration will execute a comprehensive action plan with priority steps to mitigate key risks of cryptocurrencies, among others, money laundering, finance, and for terrorism. Agencies have developed recommendations to improve our ability to track, trace, and counter illicit cryptocurrency use, and urge further steps to redouble U.S. sanctions enforcement. Third, the reports propose critical measures to protect consumers, investors, and businesses, a top priority for Biden. The report encourages regulators, as they deem appropriate, to scale up investigations into digital asset market misconduct, redouble their enforcement efforts, and strengthen interagency coordination. To accomplish all the above steps, the reports call for continued engagement with allies and partners on these issues, which will reinforce U.S. technological and financial leadership globally. Together, we are laying the groundwork for a thoughtful, comprehensive approach to mitigating digital assets' acute risks and where proven harnessing their benefits. We remain committed to working with allies, partners, and the broader digital asset community to shape the future of this ecosystem. There we go. So every agency, right? And now we have this. Everything's lining up right on schedule for ISO 222 Big Bang. We have SEC Ripple call for immediate ruling in suit over whether XRP sales violated securities laws. So this was yesterday. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple Labs both filed motions for summary judgment, arguing that a judge overseeing the case has enough information to make a ruling without moving the case forward to a trial. So they both agree. The SEC, Ripple, both agree that, yeah, judge, you can take it over and you can make the decision. Very unheard of. This whole case, they haven't agreed whatsoever. Now they're like, it seems like they're ready. Like, okay, all right, make the call that it's not a security. We're good to go, right? So now we're seeing this come out. And maybe that's why XRP is starting to outperform the market, because somebody knows something. The US SEC and Ripple Labs each want a federal judge to rule either that the crypto company affiliated with the XRP crypto violated federal securities laws or otherwise dismiss the lawsuit without requiring a lengthy trial. The SEC and Ripple both filed motions on summary judgment. The documents were posted to a federal court. Ripple publicly touted the various steps it was taking and would take to find a use for XRP and to protect the integrity. Okay, let's keep going forward. But the huge news. And then we have European Central Bank chooses Amazon and 4 other firms to prototype digital euro app. The European Central Bank announced it will be collaborating with 5 companies for the development of potential digital euro interfaces. In Friday's announcement, the ECB said it had chosen Big 4 tech company Amazon, fintech firm Nexi, Quant related, Spanish digital bank CaixaBank, I think Ripple related, and French payments platform Worldline, I think XLM related, by the way, and the European Payments Initiative, or EPI, to each focus on developing a prototype based on specific use cases of the digital euro. What strikes me and very interesting, Amazon is led with this as well too. It seems to me that Amazon will launch their own Amazon coin. They're very tied up. Why wouldn't Amazon want to use someone like Ripple or Stellar for cross-border payments because they're a global company. If they have to hold other currencies across the world that may be failing, like Sri Lanka or like all these other ones, that's risk to them, but they need to pay their people. So they would hold something like XRP and have that on-demand liquidity to swap into any currency. Think about Uber too. You have Uber in Europe, you have Uber everywhere. And why not just hold XRP and swap it into any currency when you need it instead of just holding it there where there's risk, right? Makes sense. So peer-to-peer online payments, peer-to-peer offline payments, point-of-sale payments initiated by the player, e-commerce payments, Amazon, point-of-sale payments, Nexi. There we go. So officials plan the project to be completed in the first quarter of 2023 as part of a 2-year investigation phase into the digital euro, expected to end in October 2023. There we go. There we go. All right. Then we have this. Technical possibilities for a U.S. central bank digital currency. This was 3 days ago from the Biden administration. So President Biden often summarizes his vision for America in one word: possibilities. A digital dollar may seem far-fetched, but modern technology could make it a real possibility. A United States central bank digital currency would be a digital form of the U.S. dollar. While the U.S. has not yet decided whether it will pursue a CBDC, the U.S. has been closely examining the implications of and options for issuing a CBDC. If the U.S. pursued a CBDC, there could be many possible benefits, such as facilitating efficient and low-cost transactions, fostering greater access to the financial system, boosting economic growth, and supporting the continued centrality of the U.S. within the international financial system. However, a U.S. CBDC could also introduce a variety of risks, as it might affect everything ranging from the stability of the financial system to the protection of sensitive data. So they laid out a report, technical evaluation for US CBDC, which lays out policy objectives for it and makes recommendations how to prepare the federal government for a US CBDC system. Importantly, the report does not make any assessments or recommendations about whether the US should pursue a CBDC, nor does it take any decisions regarding particular design choices for a potential US CBDC. So that's interesting. I'm going to open this up and see if we can just find any keywords here. Well, this is actually a 58-page document, so I'll get back to it. I'll do another video strictly on this. So huge things. It's like everything's rapidly accelerating. Then you have Russia's PSCB opens rupee account with Yes Bank to start rupee ruble trade. The Russian bank has opened a rupee account with nearly 36 Russian companies settling payments for trades with New Delhi. To avoid US dollars and sanctions due to the Ukraine crisis, Yes Bank and Russia's Petersburg Social Commercial Bank have taken the decision to facilitate rupee ruble bilateral trade to ensure uninterrupted cross-border business with Moscow entities. And so right there. And then we have confirmation that Ripple's actually a partner with Yes Bank. So Ripple, the only blockchain payment provider with proven commercial deployments, announced today the addition of 10 new customers to its growing global network. These financial institutions include MUFG, BBVA, SEB, ACBank, Axis Bank, Yes Bank, SBI Remit, Cambridge Global Payments, Star One Credit Union, and EasyForex.com. So taking that into account and then seeing here that Russia, the bank for them is Petersburg Social Commercial Bank, is operating, doing bilateral settlements with rupee and ruble instead of using the US dollar, and India is using Yes Bank, and we know that Yes Bank is partnered with Ripple. I mean, it's right there. It's in front of our, the only way they can do it is because of Ripple. So there we go. So more confirmation that everything that's panned out this whole year was in preparation to bring in Ripple, bring in XRP, change the international financial system, the way we do cross-border payments. Then we have new video. So Ripple versus SEC. Ripple pulls the rug out from under the SEC's Howey argument and summary judgment brief. Enough said. So this is the attorney that's been kind of tracking this whole thing. And he said, Ripple has no legal obligation to you in that, according to blue sky laws, which interpret the U.S. securities laws as the sale of an asset, not a security. So basically, it's that they're arguing a good point that XRP is not a security at all because of blue sky laws. And let's hear this. This is that same guy, Jeremy Hogan.
1933 Blue Sky Law. Every pre-1933 Blue Sky Law required that there be post-sale obligations on the promoter of the alleged security. Looking at page 19 of the brief, quote, there also can be no investment contract unless the contract includes an undertaking of post-sale obligations by the promoter to the investor. Otherwise, the contract is simply an asset sale. The Blue Sky cases rejected attempts to fit contracts without such obligations into that statutory language. So what's that mean? That means that when Ripple sold or sells XRP to you, it must have a legal obligation to you of some sort in order for there to be an investment contract and for there to be a sale of security. Let that sink in for a second. In other words, when you bought XRP, Ripple must have had a legal obligation to do something for you. But think about it. If Ripple decides to drop XRP altogether and use XLM instead for cross-border payments, do you have any legal recourse? No, you don't. There would be nothing you or I could do about it. Ripple has no legal obligation to you, and that, my friends, according to blue sky laws, which interpret the US securities laws, is the sale of an asset and not of a security.
There we go. It's looking like they're going to win this case, and we're already seeing the price movement to back it up. And I'm telling you right now, as soon as that announcement happens, you're going to see XRP in one day up 100%. Easily. If that, if not more. Then we have Ripple and SEC both agree to expedite the lawsuit on Friday. So SEC has been delaying this whole time for years. Now they're both agreeing to expedite it to get an answer on whether XRP is a security or not. So it sounds like it's in favor of Ripple from the update to the case. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and Ripple Labs each want a federal judge to rule either that the crypto company affiliated with the XRP cryptocurrency violated federal security laws or otherwise dismiss the lawsuit without requiring a lengthy trial. So this is going to be huge, and it seems like it's going to happen any moment now, any day. We're going to get that news. Then we have Starlink going live, 100% live. We have Starlink going live in all internationally. So every country in the world now has Starlink operating. Remember, Starlink, when Russia kind of cut the internet off from Ukraine with a cyber attack, Starlink came in to save the day. Now you have Starlink all of a sudden live everywhere in the world. It could be in preparation of maybe a cyber attack, a global reset. So everything is speeding up, and it seems like everything is coming into place at the exact perfect moment. Then we have Bitcoin updates on the 12-hour chart. So we've been calling this out, how there's hidden bullish divergence for the Bitcoin chart. And then Biden saying the pandemic's over.
Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Mr. President, first Detroit Auto Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
Mr. President, first Detroit.
So now that the pandemic's over, it's about how do we rebuild back, and that's what the main narrative has been from Biden with the Build Back Better, and the narrative from the International Monetary Fund, Bank of International Settlements, World Economic Forum is how do we build back different and use this crisis as an opportunity to build a world in the future that we want to live in. So that, like, now that the pandemic's over, they're in the stage of getting ready to unleash these new technologies and unleash the start of a new beginning. And it feels like it's going to happen this quarter. So like October, November, December, if not something happening this week. We're so close. So this is from the CFTC. So CFTC regulatory authority, commodities, securities, derivatives. CFTC does not have regulatory authority over cash commodities. That is, the CFTC does not regulate commodities for those. All right. So then it gets into here. Even if a digital asset is a commodity, it is not regulated by the CFTC. However, the CFTC does regulate derivatives on digital assets, just like it regulates other derivatives. This includes the regulation of trading, clearing, futures contracts, and swaps on digital assets, and so on. So here we go. And then another thing. So summary, determine the CFTC's regulatory authority with respect to a digital asset. Ask not whether the digital asset is a commodity or security. Ask whether a futures contract or other derivatives product is involved. The CFTC does not regulate a digital asset, even if it is a commodity, and regardless of whether or not it's a security. That the agency's middle name suggests the CFTC does not regulate futures contracts and other derivatives that are based on digital assets. Interesting. So daily chart XRP, we saw a breakout on the weekend, and now it looks like we have a back test of resistance, which turned into support, and it seems so. So this was posted when XRP was at 35 cents. Now we're up here around 38 cents. So it seems to me like a big move is right around the corner. And then SC Ripple, so we looked at that. And then at R3, we recognize that interoperability isn't a nice to have, it's a must have. So they're talking about how the work they've done and how Quarter will interoperate with public platforms like Ethereum in the future. So R3 is one of those big ones to keep on the radar. We already know R3 is working the DTCC, Quarter Settler. R3's settlement mechanism uses XRP and XCC. So crypto exchange FTX not authorized in the UK. So that's something to keep in mind, FTX in the UK. And then Pi cycle bottom and reversal. According to Pi cycle bottom indicator, bottom is in when 150 EMA crosses down. So you can see the chart here, and you can see you have the Pi cycle bottom, and then you have the cross, then a bull market. Pi cycle bottom, you have the cross, bull market. And then Pi cycle bottom, we're getting close to a cross, and then we'd be in a sustained, bull market. As soon as we cross, it's like bam. But we're just in the zone of working it out, working it out. And we've already went here, so now we come back up, and then we cross, and then we go. So right here you have the CFTC chair, or the commissioner, CFTC commissioner, equivalent to Gary Gensler, the SC commissioner. So like CFTC commissioner today, meeting with Turing Ripple Labs. So they went to the office and met up with them. And if that doesn't go to show something's been worked out behind the scenes, I don't know what would. All right, then we have from the Bank of International Settlements, the funding sources of local banking systems are shifting from cross-border to more stable local funding, but within cross-border funding from inter-office to less stable unrelated sources. Let's keep going. And this was today from Forbes. Blockchain technology could make SWIFT data flow faster. So SWIFT, the global system that banks use to manage cross-border payments, is giving blockchain technology a new appraisal 5 years after it took its first look. So innovation and emerging technologies, including blockchain and distributed ledger technology, are really interesting to us, said Tom, Chief Innovation Officer at Swift. We're constantly looking for ways to validate the technology and to deliver the promise. The pilot we use, enterprise, so we've learned about this, the technology Symbiont's assembly platform, so we can move on from it. And then we have a hacker, the Intercontinental Hotels Group, which owns Holiday Inn, was the victim of a destructive cyber attack carried out today. So cyber attacks keep on happening. I believe Rockstar Games today got hacked as well too. But every XRP holder should pay attention to Casper. Built from ground up, it is what Ethereum wants to be, guys, built the proper way with upgradable smart contracts. You're addressing me in the trifling dilemma.
The simple answer is yes. Davos, 3 days to talk about everything blockchain, crypto, and Web3. Day one is new financial era. Businesses wanted to know, have digital assets evolved beyond niche curiosity? And the simple answer is yes.
We are going to break accounting, and we'll put it back together better.
For the first time, you can do systemic risk exposure analysis and understand the potential for contagion.
Day implement adoption.
Enterprise is slow to adopt, and for years, whenever you'd say blockchain to them, they'd say Bitcoin. They didn't understand that there was a distinction between the two. They thought they were the same.
For enterprises to even consider adoption of these kind of technologies, it has to be sustainable.
The business world and Wall Street, which is where we focus at SARS and funds, they don't understand that crypto has enterprise applications. But big companies like Amazon and IBM, they do. When they look at crypto, they look at a firm like Casper, and there's so much substance to what Casper does. So many solutions that Casper brings. It's not a meme coin, it's a business product.
With our system, you can retain control of your contracts on the protocol. That's really important for businesses that are responsible for regulatory reasons, they're responsible to investors, they're responsible for compliance.
Enterprises have realized that blockchain specializes in their own data.
Blockchain allows this interoperability between different systems, allows us to have this transparency, co-create the value with our stakeholders.
The evolution and maturation of the blockchain market has never been more evident. And you know what?
So Casper, it's on Uphold. You can look into it. Then new bull run starts. So this is a similar pattern playing out. You get into this broadening wedge. You have your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you come up to the top of the trend line, break out, and then you go. Then we have our 1, 2, 3, and then we come up. Now we're at this point comparable to here, the COVID crash. We'd come up to this point and then break out and go into our fourth wave. So this was the CFTC commissioner again, and then repeating patterns. So let's look at this picture. So you have your peak, you have the trend line coming down, you break out of the trend line, come down, retest it right on the moving averages there, and then you go. You have your peak, trend line coming down, you break out from it, you retest it right down to the moving averages, you go, peak, trend line, come down to it, you break up from it, come back down to retest it right on the moving averages, just like we're doing now, and then we go. That's the next step, we go. This happened since 2014, and 8 years later, I would expect the same thing to happen again. And then another chart, so the end of the beginning, this is back from 2013. This has been that parallel kind of channel rising up. Every time we touch the bottom, that's the bear market bottom. So back in 2015, bear market bottom, back in 2020, bear market bottom, and then sitting at where we're at right now, we're actually below it. But this is a monthly chart. So by the end of September, we'd want to get back above it right there. So, and then here's another chart. So textbook accumulation phase with typical whipsaw price action. So we're in that final phase. You have a channel sideways. You come up to it, come back down, you break below it ever so slightly, and that's your kind of like rubber band snap back up to the top, and then you just send it from there. And then buying Bitcoin around the 200-week MA is a historically good buying opportunity. And we can see the past times, 2015, that's where the bottom was, 2019, 2020, and now look where we're at in 2022. So it's just, there's so much confirmation around the charts, around the fundamentals, that it only makes sense. And then we've already learned about liquidity bridges across central banks for cross-border payments right from the BIS. That was like 10 days ago. And then we had Ripple Oh, no. We've already read this, so we can move from this. So I think the masses are now collectively realizing the situation economically is royally, and this time the masses are probably correct. Welcome to the Schmidt-Ma, aka the Great Shaking. So let's look at this. So historic Schmidt years. So 1901 and 1902 Schmidt year, 46% U.S. stock market value wiped out. So I guess there's these different like type of years. I think maybe it's something to do with like, I'm gonna look it up real quick. So it's a sabbatical year. So it has something to do with like the Hebrew calendar. So let's look at that again now. So you had a 50% U.S. stock market crash. Then you had another one, 40% crash. Empire collapse. Britain almost went bankrupt. They were the world power back then. You had the beginning of America to rise to world power all during this one Schmidt year. Kind of similar to where we're at now, but then Britain's the U.S. Then you have 1930, 1931, 86% stock market value wiped out. So that's the Great Depression. Then here you had 50% wipe out. Then you had end of German and Britain's hold on territories, establishment of America as the world superpower. That was in 1944, Bretton Woods. Then you have 1965, 1966, 23% wipe out. Then 48% in 1972, 73. Then you have global recession this time, and then 33% U.S. stock market value wiped out. Black Monday was on this time. And then you had bond market crash 1993, 1994. 2000 to 2001, you had 37% stock market value wiped out. 9/11 global recession, .com bubble. You know, that could be something similar. And then 2007 to 2008 was a Schmidt year. 50% U.S. stock market value wiped out. Global recession, housing crisis. 2014, 2015, Chinese stock market crash, U.S. stock market sell-off. And now we're on the 7th year. So 2021 to 2022, I mean, we've seen a lot of stuff happen this year, but we still got some time left. So we'll see if anything else comes from this. But this is definitely something interesting to keep in mind. So this is another chart. So entering phase 8, the major bull run of the bullish reversal pattern, exactly similar to that of 2018. So we have, I think, 2018 on the bottom, 2022 on the top, and it's been the same pattern. This phase was just a little different. This went sideways for a while and then just dropped. This one was like a drawn out, like terrible just drawdown. And then we go up once, come back down, go up one more, come back down. So if this is right, this is the start of the phase from beginning of October to like end of this year. We could be back up to that 50,000, 40 to 50K level. And then altcoins are probably exploding at that time. XRP as we speak is almost breaking out at 39 cents. It was just up there like yesterday or 2 days ago. So if this is going to happen, it seems like it's going to happen quickly. And then we have, let's keep going. So entering the final bullish phase of the Wyckoff cycle. So this is what those cycles usually look like, and it looks like that's playing out. Then let's see. So yeah, Rockstar Games got hacked as well too, along with the Intercontinental Hotel Group. So a lot of hacks happening right now. And then we're going to end it on that one. And then global debt reached a record $303 trillion in 2021. And then tokenization of global illiquid assets estimated to be a $16 trillion business opportunity by 2030. And that's what this whole blockchain wave is going to do. It's going to liquefy illiquid assets, all the money. So we're just waiting the smart money to accumulate in Bitcoin. So no difference than 2018 bottom to now. So same similar thing coming here. So what's next is a slow grind up back to the 24, 25K level. We break out of that, we're sending it. And then at the SCO bloc agrees to expand trade in national currencies. Turkey is looking to be the first NATO member to join the China-led bloc. 25% of Russian gas supplies to Turkey will be paid for in rubles. BRICS also expects Turkey to join. Turkey's central bank's gold reserve at 2-year high. So they're going away from the dollar. And then that's another chart. We'll skip that. So XRP seems to be decoupling from the rest of the crypto markets. A mega whale purchased over $500 million of XRP yesterday while other coins tanked. Do they know something we don't? You can see the relationship. Bitcoin down here, Ethereum down here, XRP up here. It's just time. It's that time for the market to have the money flow into utility driven assets, ones that are dealing with interoperability, ISO 222, payments, and central bank digital currencies. And the Ethereum's merge over, that hype is done. So what's next other than the hype coming from the SEC Ripple lawsuit settlement for XRP, as well as central bank digital currencies launching, more adoption, right? So XRP right now is breaking above 39 cents. If we're above 40 cents by the end of the day, we close the daily candle, it's on. We're going to fly. Interesting relationship among 30. All right, we're going to skip that. And I think that is it. So that's it, guys. So this was the newsletter. I'll see you guys in the Discord. I'll be on the charts all day. If you guys have any questions, you can DM me.